You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, let's talk about Caitlin Clark. She played the New York Liberty today, and just a rematch of a couple of days ago, Connecticut Sun back on the calendar in a couple of more days for Caitlin Clark, and no doubt it was a much better performance for Caitlin Clark individually than she had in the previous two games, and it was certainly a game where you realized she was absolutely going to make it, and she's going to be a big star in this league, no doubt about it. And we'll get to her line in a minute, and we'll get to reaction from WNBA fans. There's one thing that's very apparent. She doesn't have much help out there at all. This team is very devoid of offensive basket makers. Outside of her, it seems like nobody can really score on this team. They did a much better job of getting the ball in her hands in the first half, and then in the second half, for whatever reason, they fell off. Now, this goes to show you the power of Caitlin Clark and the Caitlin Clark effect. Everybody take a look at this. This broke during the game from Holly Rowe of ESPN. This game was on ABC. I can't wait to see the rating on free broadcast television. Both the NBA Commissioner Adam Silver and WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert were at the Barclays Center for the Fever Liberty. Holly Rowe reports that the New York Liberty's gate, that means tickets sold, the amount of tickets sold, was the largest in WNBA history. They made more than $2 million today, and there was over 18,000 fans there. It was a packed house against a much better team. Now, this is Caitlin Clark's line. Let me just see if I've got it here. Right here. 22 points, 8 turnovers. We'll get to that in a second. 8 assists and 6 rebounds. She got those 17 field goal attempts that I talked about in a couple of videos in the last 2 days. I was like, you've got to get her 15 to 20 shots a game. You absolutely do. Now, these turnovers, because a lot of people are still stuck on these turnovers. And I can tell you right now, I've got 2 of them up here, but there's at least 3 to 4 that should absolutely be on her teammates for not taking the ball when it's passed to them. This one right here, here's another perfect Caitlin Clark pass that her teammate can handle, and the WNBA stat recorder said it was a turnover on Caitlin Clark. She should have been credited probably with 4 to 5 turnovers tops. So this pass right here, you can see it's going down right there. There's no way that pass can't be handled, and that's credited as a turnover. I mean, that can't happen. Here's another one right here, folks. Caitlin Clark got a turnover for this shit, by the way. Don't take people serious who talk about her turnovers. Here we go. Another one right there. You've got to get that pass and get a layup out of that. There's no excuse, and that's exactly the reason why they're just not scoring enough points. They're either turning the ball over in instances like this, or her teammates, and look, it is what it is. This team had the worst record in the league, but they just can't knock down buckets. She's the only one knocking down buckets out there, and she's on an island. It's going to be a long season. It really is. So very quickly, just a couple of shots here, folks. Right here, I mean, step back. God, knock down that 3. Knock down. I mean, she was really knocking threes down. Absolutely. So it was a much better game. 22, 8, 6, 8 turnovers, 1 steal. So we'll scroll down here. We'll look at some reaction. We got reaction from WNBA fans, from basketball fans. And, yeah, a lot of people were really calling out the demise of Caitlin Clark, right? There was a lot of that going on. The haters were starting to crawl out of the woodwork over the last few days. And, boy, the Caitlin Clark hate got awfully quiet today. Awfully quiet. I'm going to tell you, we talked about her being a combination. I said she sort of feels like a combination of Larry Bird and Steph Curry. And I thought in the first half that really bared out. She can really pass the ball. Reminds me of Larry Bird when she passes the ball. I'm old enough to remember. I watched most of Larry Bird's games, and I was a big NBA fan, and the Celtics are my team. So there's just some real similarities there, I think. Reports of Caitlin Clark's demise was greatly exaggerated. Indiana has a lot of work to do, especially defensively, but Caitlin looked really good today. Most impressive game by Caitlin Clark in her short 3-game professional career so far. Nice to see her getting a rhythm. The team will all come in the rhythm eventually. Got to make some shots. Her teammates have got to make knockdown shots. It can't all be her. Caitlin Clark was the best player on the floor today on both teams. Not even joking. I agree. When you watch this game, she was the player that stood out. I mean, really. And we know there's stars on Liberty's team, at least for as far as the WNBA goes. But the New York Liberty are deep, and they were in the finals. One thing for sure, Caitlin Clark is going to be a problem in the WNBA. Absolutely. Breanna Stewart, by the way, had 24 points on 50% shooting. Some history. The Liberty are the first WNBA team in the history to have all 5 starters make multiple three-pointers in a game. That's what Caitlin was dealing with today. I mean, if she had anything like this with her, her team would be deadly. I mean, seriously, deadly. So we'll scroll down here. Again, the Fever had the first pick for a reason. They are just not that good of a team. They got a long way to go. Damn, they're struggling early into the season. Give them some time, though. They're playing tough teams, good defensive teams, too. Caitlin Clark was white, and that may be the most impressive thing about what Caitlin Clark did today, was a team that really held her in check, at least scoring the other night. They couldn't contain her. And then they were all over after when they realized nobody else could hit a shot. Caitlin Clark was wide open just now for the inbound in the backcourt, but her teammate looks at her, then forces a contested pass to Kelsey Mitchell. Indiana Fever could not be more of a mess, feeling bad for Cece. There were a couple of times today where, I hate to say this, but I'm going to be real. There were a couple of times where it felt like they purposely iced her out. And I hope I'm wrong about that. I mean, just from the standpoint of what you saw that she did to the New York Liberty's gate, moneymaker, right? You got a lot of fans that had no interest in this league, like me, that are trying to support Caitlin Clark and trying to become invested, and we had a blast. Once again, as a family, sat and watched the game and had a good time. But wow, I mean, I hope that's not the case. But there were a couple of times when they should have blatantly thrown her the ball so she could have taken a shot where she had real looks, and for whatever reason, they threw the ball somewhere else. And it just didn't make a lot of sense to me. Maybe it was just one of those things, mess up. Maybe what they were seeing on the court was different than what I was seeing, but yikes. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.